Hey everyone, this is Dan. Let's look at what's happening with Moderna. When I follow a stock, I start with fundamental analysis. I also monitor the macroeconomic events that might affect the stock price. Finally, I use technical analysis to guide my hour-to-hour and minute-to-minute trading strategies. Let's look at the significant events that might have affected the stock price. First of all, the continuing jobless claim numbers came out this morning. The actual was 5.34K, a little bit better than the estimated 5.56K. And then the initial jobless claim numbers, actual 803K, also a little bit better than the estimated 855K. So both sets of numbers are bullish. Then durable goods orders came in at 0.9%, better than the estimated 0.6%, also bullish. The Congress, as of yesterday, passed the $900 billion stimulus package, and the bill is now waiting for President Trump's signature. A major news that came out yesterday was that a new strain of COVID virus has been spreading quickly in the UK around the London area. And there's been a lot of concerns about this new strain of virus, which caused the market to go down yesterday. As of today, S&P is up just a little bit, 0.07%. NASDAQ was down 0.29%. Dow Jones was up 0.38%. And in Europe, the DAX was up 1.26%. That's following an almost equally big drop the day prior. As far as commodities, light crude was down slightly at negative 0.17%. Copper down a little bit, 0.2%. Gold is down today, 0.05%, almost flat. And US dollar index is down 0.41%. I look at the commodities because that could be signaling an economic recovery or an imminent recession. I do trade oil ETF and gold ETF. Yesterday, Moderna dropped 8.97%. That was a steep drop, probably because of the virus fear at UK. Today, it recovered a little bit, up 3.54% and closed at 130.34. At this point, I'm still holding on to my prediction of Moderna being at 150 to 170 in 3 months. Of course, it'll be subject to short-term technical fluctuations. Let's look at what's happening with this new strain of virus in the United Kingdom. Based on the preliminary analysis, this strain of virus might be as much as 70% more transmissible than the previous version, which is very concerning. And the new variant was responsible for 62% of COVID infections in London in the week ending December 9. Both Moderna and BioNTech are testing their vaccines against this new mutation, and we'll have answers in a few weeks. Actually, we might have answers sooner than that because UK started vaccinating people on December 8th with the BioNTech vaccine. So we should be able to see some results in the UK in about 2 to 3 weeks as to whether the vaccine is effective against this new strain of virus. I did a study on how the stock price of a drug company changed before and after the approval of a blockbuster product such as a COVID vaccine. I looked at Eylea by Regeneron, Enbrel by Amgen, and 2 other drugs by Pfizer, and then compared them to the COVID vaccines developed by Moderna and BioNTech together with Pfizer. I listed out each drug and the stock price of each company from 600 days before the FDA approval date of that particular drug to 360 days after the approval date. To compare apples to apples, I normalized the stock price at 3 days before the approval date to be 100% for each company. And this is what I got. The stock price of Regeneron and Amgen started to increase quickly about 30 days after the approval date. Moderna and BioNTech today are very similar to Regeneron and Amgen because of the chart here shows the first major drugs approved by FDA for Regeneron and Amgen, just like the COVID vaccines being the first products from Moderna and BioNTech that have been approved by FDA. As you can see, the prices of Regeneron and Amgen were flat right after the approval date. The prices started to go up about 30 days after the approval date and went up sharply after that. When I extend the timeline to 1 year and 2 years after the approval date, we can see some pretty big jump in stock price at about 300% and 500% for Amgen and Regeneron. Therefore, I believe Moderna and BioNTech will follow the same pattern, and that's why I'm still holding on to my prediction of Moderna being at 150 to 170 3 months from now. I think that's actually a very conservative estimate. Before we move on, if you like what you've seen so far, please click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons so that you will be notified when I post any future updates on Moderna. Let's continue. This is a recap of what I mentioned on my December 21st video. I said that the downward sloping channel turned into a triangular pattern. The close-up of the triangular pattern, as the price continued to move to the right, it'll either break upward above the triangular pattern or it might break downward. And if it broke downward, I was ready to sell some of my shares. As of yesterday morning at market open, it was a very steep drop with the Moderna stock. And then the next hour, another steep drop. I sold right around here at about $132 a share, as I planned previously. And then this morning during pre-market, when I saw this pattern changing around, I bought back in at about $121 a share. Let's break down the details of what's happening here. This is a close-up shot between yesterday and this morning. First, when the price broke down below this triangular pattern, we had a bearish engulfing candlestick pattern. This is a very strong bearish signal. Then the next hour, it was followed by another very strong bearish candlestick pattern, which was the 3 outside down pattern. I then decided to sell based on what I planned previously, with the price breaking below the triangular pattern and also with the 2 candlestick signals. And then later on in the afternoon around 2 p.m., I saw this bullish engulfing signal. I was almost ready to buy back in, but then it was followed by a bearish Williams fractal signal and then 2-3 hours of continuous downtrend. So I decided not to buy back in yet. This morning during pre-market, the price opened lower at around 118. But then after the first couple hours, we saw this bullish Williams fractal signal. And then I started to see the price trending upward, not just on the hourly chart, but also 30-minute and 15-minute chart. That's when I decided to buy back in at around 121. As the day evolved, we continued to see uptrend until the price peaked out at around 2 p.m. at about 132. Then it went down and started to go sideways. As you can see, the price is very much influenced by the Bollinger Band, maybe with the exception of this area when it was really driven by the very bearish candlestick signals. In the next couple of days, when I do swing trading, I will definitely be looking at the Bollinger Band, the candlestick signals, and also the RSI indicator. I will also be mindful of the historical support and resistance levels. Let's look at the historical support and resistance. I see support at 128, 125, 113, and 100. Let's hope it doesn't go to 100 anytime soon. And I see resistance at 139 and 134. If this is the first time you're watching one of my Moderna videos, I'd like to provide you with a summary of the fundamental analysis I did in my December 16 video. In that video, I looked at the PE ratios of 9 pharmaceutical companies. Then I took the average of 12.4. I applied that PE ratio to Moderna, and then I estimated the revenues of Moderna based on how many doses they'll be selling for 2021, 2022, and 2023. And from that, I did the calculations and arrived at the conclusion that Moderna is worth at least $150 to $170 a share. If I see any big change happening in the next few days, I will post a new video. I will also add update notes below this video like this between today and the time when I post the next video. If you check back on this YouTube page every once in a while, you will be able to see my latest notes. Please remember to click the like, subscribe, and notification button so that you can be notified when I post the next video. Thank you so much for watching all the way to here. I'd like to mention that I'm not a financial advisor. I'm sharing my analysis and my trade strategy for your reference only. You should make your own decisions regarding buying or selling stocks and should check with your financial advisors. If you have a few more seconds, hang in there. I'd like to share with you some additional reference information. In the meanwhile, I'd like to wish you the best of luck with your financial investments. If you wonder when the market is going to crash again, check out a video on this topic in my playlist. The following is a list of the analytical tools I use and the information I look at every day to develop my investment strategies. After doing hours of research, I summarize my findings into a few minutes of video for you. Links are provided below this video for you to learn more about RSI, Bollinger Bands, the role of the Federal Reserve Bank, etc.